My black heart is finally fulfilled. Chaos Space Marines are finally here. My favorite new unit in this book is the crazy accursed cultists. They're a bunch of mutated jerks, and it's a mixture unit of kind of like smaller mutated cultists mixed with bigger mutated cultists. It's like someone took my bits drawer, threw a pile of green stuff in there, and then said, "Goatboy, create." And that's what I've done. I love the way they look. I love the ideas of them. It's like crazy big unit of monster cultists that are fearless, randomly mutate back together if you don't kill the whole thing. They can't do any actions because they're not that smart, being fulfilled with demons and monsters and everything else in there. But they're going to be a good little unit, just kind of just be in the way. The bigger guys are pretty tough, hit pretty hard. The little guys are also strength 4 and toughness 4. I think you kind of utilize some of the options you have with the priests and everything else there to either make them better or make them last a long time, or they're just in the way. There's a whole lot of layers of kind of things you can do. Like Iron Warriors can be protected by ways of cultists, and most of the other Chaos Legions have options that make the cultists better because that's their bread and butter, and those are people they send first to take the bolter shots in the face, and then the actual Chaos Space Marines come in there after they've made a mess of all the crazy cultists and the promises they gave them of like, hey, we get more Soylent Green to eat, or you get a cool tattoo, or embedded with some kind of metal thing in your face. It's going to be a weird set of combos. Like, this book doesn't feel as on the nose power as, say, like Tyranids or some of the Harlequin options. It feels much more along the lines of like making a really good Marine style army. So combo wise, you're going to see kind of little things here and there. I really like the Emperor's Children Noise Marines, which you can put in the old Dreadclaw from Forge World, or the Chaos drop pod that moves around and attacks you. They can drop in. If they're at half range, their sonic weapons go to damage 2, and you can start stacking a whole bunch of other things on them to basically get a ton. Like a 10-man, you will have 30 shots with exploding 6s to hit. You can have them hit really hard and wound really hard and just do a ton of damage to something, since they ignore cover and flat -1 AP, strength 4, 1 damage, or 2 damage with close range. So I really like that. I think that's going to be a real mean thing coming out there. The Obliterators are also good, and the Dreadclaw still holds a lot of stuff, which I don't know if that's what it's supposed to. They're just kind of keyworded off of infantry and then some other things. So that might be a really good thing showing up there. And again, that's comboing the Forge World stuff, and since it doesn't take a command point, why not? I'm a fan of the Possessed because they're everything I want. A big monstrous creature with 3 wounds that moves really fast. I wish I had them new models to look at, because I'm pretty excited to sit there and mess with them and figure stuff out and try to get an actual Chaos Space Marine army after so long. Get a bunch of new models and paint a bunch of new stuff, because I can't stop painting Chaos Space Marines. So a lot of stuff has changed in this edition. Like the way now Chaos Marks actually do stuff. They basically give a bonus unit to the unit. It's a flat point upgrade for every unit to get this mark. And then if they keep the icon keyword, they get some other ability on there, which I think is pretty neat. That's a pretty unique change, where the marks before were more aesthetics or army building option. The cult troops pretty much all going into their books now. So they're not like a part of your legion, they're like a part of the legion that come from like Thousand Suns come from Thousand Suns. Plague Marines come from Death Guard. As you see, the new Khorne Berserkers come from the World Eaters that will be coming out sometime in the future. So it's kind of an interesting setup, while the only one left in here are Noise Marines, which I feel really kind of puts in why Emperor's Children seem to be really powerful. They lost some of the double shooting options. A lot of the tricks we had before are kind of gone here, and the book is a much more of a multi-layered kind of combo setup, where you're utilizing priest prayers, some spell options, some other things. Warp time took a hit. It no longer allows you to charge afterwards, which is kind of disappointing. But, your Legion traits now go to every part of your Legion in your army, which is really important. It makes me kind of like things like Red Corsairs means everything advances in charges. Emperor's Children, there's a lot of senses. They're all Marcus Slanesh. They get a strike first in combat, which is going to be rather annoying when anything kind of comes in there. It's like, well, you do your one hit, and then I get to do my hit, and then everything else in there. So you start kind of controlling those kind of options. There's a lot of layers of chaos items that the person can die, or the HQ character will die, and then it'll come back up again, which is really interesting. And again, kind of shows you, like the bad guys of the Chaos Space Marines never die; they always come back in some ways. So that's interesting too. Word Bearers got a nice bump. I think they look pretty interesting if you want to do possessed options. They again cast spells really well. They have a bunch of kind of fun little stratagems, and then their characters are pretty interesting too. And one of the more interesting secondaries that doesn't stop you from doing stuff, even though you have to be in the middle, which I think is powerful. It's kind of like you beseech the dark gods in the middle of the table, and if there's no one around there, you start getting a tally, and as the tally goes up, you get more points. But thankfully, while you're praying or beseeching, you can still do psychic spells. So again, at least it's not turning off what your guy's ability to do, which I find interesting on those ones. Everything kind of got a nice tweak. As well as their new version of doctrines, which is, I think, they start in the heavy grenades, and rapid fire gets exploding sixes to hit. Then it moves to pistols, assault weapons, and rapid fire get exploding sixes, and then it kind of finally goes into being an assault, exploding sixes with pistols and assault weapons as well. So the Chaos Space Marine is going to be this very much Death of the False Emperor exploding damage as they kind of start exploding out and everything else on there. So it's kind of an interesting setup without going into the weird AP valuation that Marines did, and now it's kind of gotten not as good. So maybe this exploding will be a much better option. But everything in this book kind of got a slight tweak. Like Obliterators are much more interesting with 3 different shooting. They have a anti-tank, anti-heavy infantry, and anti-infantry option, as well as being big, beefy boys that are going to punch stuff. The one thing I did get sad was my Lord of Skulls got more expensive and no longer always hits the same as it gets more damage. Now it's like a normal vehicle and gets weaker and weaker with hitting, but it gets more attacks. So kind of sad about that because I have 3 of them in my house and they all look kind of depressed that they're not going to be nearly as amazing as I'd want them to be. But overall it's pretty neat. The Night Lords can do some weird stuff because they can do a whole lot of interesting leadership stacking. I love the stratagem that allows you to have the opponent can't use insane morale on something, so which I think is pretty fun. You're like, no, you got to take this leadership check and you're gonna see what happens. So yeah, we're gonna see if this leadership bombs and leadership options might be really, really fun and powerful. It's kind of sad with the new version of the rules of the CPs that you might not see Chaos Knights with Dread Test coming in as part of this kind of combo of leadership insanity. But match play is match play. You gotta try to tweak stuff and clean stuff because it's in a bit of a rough patch right now. So meta-wise, we're at a weird spot. We've got points coming out probably right after before I did this. I haven't really seen the points. I've seen a little bit, and I don't expect the points in this book to really change. I don't think they're going to do a Custodes where they knock them down and then all of a sudden put them back up again. It feels like this is a nice middle army. This feels like where you want armies to be. I don't expect it to get a bunch of stuff nerfed out of it. I don't expect it to feel that it's not like you're not playing the same game as your opponent, which I think is important. As we notice these armies come out that are extremely powerful and then they do get hit and knocked down. So it's kind of a frustrating thing from a hobby perspective that, I want to make my army look good, so I got to spend time building up and getting everything built together, and then all of a sudden this unit is worthless. I don't see this here. I think there's a lot of avenues, a lot of options you're going to do to build this. I'm sure there's going to be a really powerful build that someone's going to figure out. I love how aggressive it is. So those are things that I enjoy in an army. Something come in there and be very, very aggressive. It has a lot of tools, which I think it can handle a lot of stuff on there, depending on how you build it. So that, I think it makes it a successful book. The weirdest thing in here, and something I'll end up talking about in our article at some point, is the overall lack of Legion. There's no Legion customization, which feels like it's something that this is one of the few books that I feel would fit for that, because I mean, renegades are renegades, can be from anywhere, and there's just not that in here. So it makes me think that something is coming in the future, some kind of campaign book, because this is a this is a huge book. There's a lot of rules in here that they're going to add those customize option, because right now the only two non-main Legion books are Red Corsairs, which are one of my favorites, and then Creations of Bile, which are not one of my favorites. But Red Corsairs, you know, I think it's when a lot of my army is painted up, is I did that, and they have the set of rules that I always like, which is Advance and Charge, which is always one of my favorite because it's easy, and the idea of advancing and charging rhinos makes me laugh. So that makes me excited. So at least that's in here, but then all the other legions are in here as well. I thought you would see some kind of customization, which end up not showing up. But there's a ton of stuff in here. All the legions have 6 relics, 6 warlord traits, a page of stratagems, and then their rules. So I mean, you're looking at a ton of stuff. The only ones that don't have as much of that is Red Corsairs and Servants of Bile. They're a little bit smaller, with half the relics, half the rules, and half the stratagems. But since you get to use the Space Marine ones, and you're no longer limited to what you can't use because you're a renegade, you know, that's all gone. So that's nice, and makes it where it feels a lot more filling of armies in here. Like it feels like an actual big release, and I don't think we're going to see a bunch of supplements afterwards that we don't necessarily need, because each section has a lot of rules that kind of fill in what you would see supplements beyond putting unique units. So for all those evil players, you've got a book now you can try to play. I know a lot of people have kept the flame alive with Chaos Space Marines, while I haven't, as I flopped around to different armies all the time. I'm happy. I hope you guys can find something there. I know that a lot of the army has changed for you. It doesn't nearly have some of the weird customization, like we're missing jump pack characters, which kind of makes me sad, because I have a whole lot of uniquely created jump pack Chaos Lords, and I don't know if I want to break off the wings. You know, it makes me sad on. But you know, with any kind of internal balance, anything else like that, you have to look at those things, as well as what's available an option for some kind of new player or anything else playing it. It makes me think that's going to come to other armies, where you're going to see, you know, probably a lot of that Space Marine stuff is just not going to be there anymore as well coming. You know, this book, Final Thoughts, I'm excited to play it. I don't think I'm playing it right away. I think I'm going to do one more Chaos Knights, and then I'm going to try to do some kind of Chaos Space Marines, especially when the new Possessed models come out, because I'm very excited for them, as well as the new kind of weird-looking Cultists look pretty awesome. Oh yeah, and Abaddon is a beast, and he's rough to deal with. He is going to hit hard and take names like the true boss he is, and he's costs a lot of points too. So. But that's Chaos Space Marines kind of in a nutshell. I'm excited. You're going to see a lot more from me as I kind of probably dig into more of the legions and dig into everything else out there, and have fun for the next couple weeks as to wait for all this chaos stuff. Hi, thanks for watching. This is Goatboy from Bowls. If you want to check out any other 40K link, I think we have a Nephilim one where I talked about the changes. Check it out.